Welcome back to the Knowledgeable Podcast. It's episode 11. Disclaimer, anything I say or do is not financial advice, or anything I say is not to go out and do. It's just for entertainment purposes only, and that's it. So, a couple of days ago, Bank of America decided to, I should say this, they got fined $250 million for basically taking their own customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, information and creating fake or creating newer accounts or more accounts for their company. And you may be asking, well, what do you mean? Well, they would take their social security without them knowing. Like, none of this was new, okay? Until they got fined. And again, Wells Fargo has done this multiple times and they've been fined a lot. And the reason why it's a problem is because they only got fined $250 million. Now it says that they started in 2018, they might have started in 2012 doing this. If a regular person did this, like a regular Joe Schmo on the street did this, or me, for instance, we would have been put in prison because that's identity theft. It's identity theft. You're putting money and you're putting identifiable people's information without them knowing into different things, and their social security, their their bank information. I don't know about their bank information, but their probably even their phone number. I would assume their names. It's all identity theft. Okay, maybe not their phone number, but their social security, and that is all identity theft. So, well, my problem with this whole thing is that why is Bank of America, or any bank, frankly, doesn't matter whose bank it is, if the politicians, which I know they get paid by them, they say, oh well, they classify their company as people, the ones that lobby to them. Well, if that is true, fine, okay. So if they can lobby you because they're classified as people, then wouldn't you say that they're also classified, their CEO, their CEO, CFO, and all the executives are also classified as people? Because if you're classifying when you get bribed money, offered money from lobbyists for these corporations, and then when they do these things, and of course most of these politicians know that they're doing this, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them do, and they do absolutely nothing because they're getting funded by these companies to keep quiet and get things passed that they want, because that's what lobbying is. And the only reason why these companies can do it is because they are allowed. Well, what I mean, what they can do is they can take money, okay, and they're allowed to take the money they're allowed to take the money that they're taking is put into this fund, into the bank accounts, scratch that. The money that they get goes to the politicians, and then the politicians are going to, because they're lobbying them, even though I think it's illegal to bribe people. And the only reason why they're allowed to lobby them is because the politicians say, oh well, we're categorizing the companies as people. Okay, fine, let's do that. So if we want to categorize them as people, then what is the difference between me categorizing them as people when they do a crime, or when Joe Schmo on the street does identity theft? We'd be in prison right now. How is the CEO, the chairman of the board, the executives that were running the system not in jail? If you're going to categorize them as people, as in the people that lobby you and give you money and bribe you and give you money so they can get what they want, and you call them, oh well, they're people, so that's why they're able to do it, because now they're classifying them as people. Well, then you have to classify them as a criminal act as people too. The reason why this is still going on, and it continues to go on, is because we do not arrest CEOs, executives, for doing things that are classified on a regular basis as illegal. It's fraud. It's identity theft. The CEOs of these corporations, okay, of these banks, the ones that were involved, Wells Fargo, which I know they got fined a while back, but it doesn't matter. The CEO, and maybe he didn't know it, fine. That means he's not doing a damn good job then of knowing everything that's going on. The COO, the CFO, and all the people that were involved, besides maybe the regular employees because they're forced to do this or they're going to lose their jobs, should be in prison. Because again, if a regular Joe did this, if the regular Joe did identity theft, they would be in prison. This is absolutely pathetic. And you know how much they got fined? $250 million. You're going to say, oh, well, that's a lot of money. No, it isn't. When they've been doing this since 2018, 2012, whatever, they probably made billions from it. And guess who gets a cut out of it? The government. Not all the people that were affected. Now, some of the people that are affected do go to the like I think 100 million goes to the people that were affected. But that's it. But the government gets way more, which I'm fine with, if they actually fine them billions of dollars. They should fine them. If they don't want to arrest the CEOs and the chief exec, and I know the SEC is not there to arrest them, they're just there to fine them. If I was the SEC and I was the chairman of the SEC, I would say, how much money did you make from this? And if you lie to me, we're going to put that under perjury, and then we're going to put you in prison. And then what's going to happen is simple. What we're going to see is simple. The amount of money that you made from this, you're going to pay the fine for that, and then you're also going to pay fines for the people that were affected, and that's how it's going to be. And then we're going to charge an extra fine that's even more, just to make you hurt even more. So yeah, I get that these companies hire a lot of people, but this should not be allowed to happen. You can't say one person's above the law and the other person isn't. This is why we have so many problems with banks. This is why the banks can do whatever the F they want, because they get bailed out, their fines are crap, and I'm not just talking about the banks. We could talk about other corporations that have done some stupid junk before and got fined basically nothing, but compared to what they actually made from it. This is absolutely pathetic. The SEC, the FBI, maybe not the FBI, but the Congress should be ashamed of themselves for not going to the putting them on the stand, the CEO of these companies, and yelling at them. They should be in prison. The only way they shouldn't be is if they had no idea and they had nothing to do with it. But if you're the CEO, you better know what the hell's going on in your company. Or why the hell are you making millions of dollars? As you can tell, I do not like executives. And it's not that I feel that executive of companies are bad. A lot of executives are not bad. I shouldn't say that. I just feel that executives that didn't found the company or didn't work for the founder or whatever are usually more greedy, don't give a shit about the company. All they care about is their pocket. And that's why these things happen. We need to start arresting these people for what they have done. The reason why we have to keep bailing these people out, the reason why we have to keep finding these people for doing corrupt things, is because we don't arrest anybody. We don't give them any real punishment. You blame one or two people and that was it. Now, they didn't even blame anybody in this Bank of America thing, but I'm just talking about back in 2008. This is why we have problems. This is why we have problems when it comes to our banks defaulting all the time. Why, I shouldn't say all the time. Why banks always are having problems, because they're dumb. Their executives are good at understanding greed. But the problem is they can get away with whatever they want, so they're just going to keep doing it. Because the politicians do absolutely nothing because they get bribed. Because according to BlackRock, all you have to do is give them $10,000 and they're going to listen to you. So, that was according to one of BlackRock's employees. So, that's on live television. So, I don't want to hear about it. These people need to understand one thing. Wake up. The only way that you can stop this problem is by taking these people and putting them in prison. The other way we could do this is we could also have all the Congress members also be also not be able to trade stocks, also not be able to what is it called? Not just trade stocks. Oh yeah, they wouldn't be able to get bribes, which they really aren't supposed to get bribes, but somehow they're still able to get bribes. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So, yeah, it's very irritating, okay? And these people are very corrupt. They're very bad people, and they have no clue I shouldn't say they have a clue. They don't care because they can get away with it. So, yeah, it's very irritating when we have this problem. And it keeps coming and happening, and it's going to keep happening because we don't do anything. The way you take down the banking system is very simple. If all of you take all your money out and there's a bank run, well, first of all, they're not going to have your money. So that's number one, because it's in other places. They don't even have your money. That's how corrupt they are. So the way you destroy a system very fast is you run to the bank if there's 30 million, you can have 30 million people run to all different banks. They will collapse as faster than yes, they're going to collapse faster than Usain Bolt running. Okay? That's how fast they're going to collapse. I'm a little bit exaggerating. It's not going to be 9 seconds. But it's going to be fast. Okay? And frankly, maybe that's going to wake up these idiots. Okay? Maybe they'll be like, oh, you know. And no, we shouldn't be bailing these banks out. But that's how you collapse the system. I'm not saying going out there and go do that. But I'm just saying, if this keeps happening, and this just keeps happening, and we don't get anything out of it, we might as well and do that. Because at this point, the banking system is so corrupt, so defrauded, that we need to change it up, screw it up, do some changes, arrest some of these people, and tell the politicians to wake up. That's what we need to do. We need to wake these people up. These people are very bad. They're very bad. Okay? And look at JP Morgan. Okay? A couple of weeks ago, I think it was a month or so ago, or a week ago, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know. Remember that whole Epstein thing? They settled with all the Epstein people that were with the suing JP Morgan with the whole sexual stuff, blah, blah, blah. Well, JP Morgan was supposed to have over 43 million emails. They said, oh, they accidentally lost 43 million emails. And then there was a guy that died that was a board member of JP Morgan that had some connection with Epstein around the same time. Oh yeah, he just magically got in an accident up in the mountains. Yeah, he just magically did it. Magically happened up in the mountains. Yeah, it's a real big coincidence. After the same day that you just deleted 43 million emails, this guy just disappeared. Baloney! First of all, how do you accidentally delete 43 million emails? After you were told you needed to have 43 million emails. And guess what they're going to get fined? Nothing! They're going to get fined they're probably going to get fined $200 million. If I was the SEC, I would have fined their asses $10 billion. Maybe they'll get them a little bit of a whip sometime. Maybe we should charge them 1% of their market cap. Yeah, $30 billion. That's what you need to charge these bummies. And then that will crush them. No, I'm joking. You wouldn't be able to do that much. But they should charge them $10 billion, and that's what I would have done. Because it would have hurt them, but it wouldn't hurt them that much. So, yeah. They need to learn something. Okay? Okay, if you want to play around with this stuff, then the people maybe we shouldn't fine them. Maybe what we should do is not just fine them. We should also arrest the executives that are in charge. Okay, and then they got this guy magically, after they came out with all these court documents and in the settlement, this guy up in the mountains, a billionaire that's a board member of JP Morgan, just accidentally died, even though he had connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Oh yeah, it's a coincidence. Around the same time, yeah, he just magically died. He died. It was an accident. Yeah, someone killed him. That's what I have it looking at.
Oh, it's a coincidence. It's a conspiracy theory. They think that someone killed him.
No, that's probably what happened. Because if you look at the problem, he probably had new information about Epstein. He was probably involved with Epstein, and they didn't want him to talk, and he was probably going to talk, and then they were like, okay, boom. Okay, and then they magically made it seem like, he got in an accident, told his whole family to tell him, well, here's a couple bucks, he got in an accident, blah, 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 whatever. Or maybe he's out hiding. He may not even be dead, who knows. Because they swept it under the rug. They quickly, this guy was dead, killed, boop, 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 week, and then boom, done, see you later. I don't know, I'm just making shit up. But I'm just saying, come on, it's really a coincidence that somehow this guy that had connection with Epstein, it was a board member of JP Morgan and a billionaire, and somehow he, around the same time that JP Morgan was having a settlement, and then they lost 43 million emails, and blah, 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 doesn't make any sense. Okay, it just doesn't, it adds up to, someone had to have killed them. I mean, come on. Yeah, all around the same time. Oh, yeah. Real good one, guys. Real good ones. Jamie Dimon, that guy's a fraud. You look at him, he stands there and goes, I'm being honest with you. It's not that he's a bad bank. He understands how to run a bank, but he's a fraudster. Okay, when you rob people in the gold market by manipulating the gold market, and only get fined $1.2 billion. That's it. They probably made $10 billion. That's the problem. And then they did other things in JP Morgan. So I don't want to hear about it. Jamie Dimon's a very smart man, but he's corrupt. Okay? He's corrupt, like everyone else. And the problem is that this dude doesn't care about you and I. And I'm not saying he should, but and I understand he's running a bank and he has to do the bank's thing. But the problem is that when you're doing something illegal, you shouldn't be allowed to do it. And that is the problem. And it's not just him, it's all these different bank executives. They have no clue. All they know is greed, fraud, and get away with it. That's it. That's all they know. And it's kind of funny because I think it's hilarious that that's all they know is greed, fraud, and get away with it. I mean, that's it. I mean, we can make a whole song about it. Jay-Z should do a rap song about greed, fraud, and get away with it. Because that's what the bank executives do. Okay? That's all they do. That's all they do all day. Okay? They get away with greed, fraud, and get away with it. Done. See you, goodbye, done. Okay? And frankly, it's corruption. Okay? And again, I'm not just talking about banks, I'm also talking about other corporations, but I know I'm targeting them because that was the main story in the last couple of weeks. So, you know, it's just been pathetic. Okay? Absolutely pathetic. That I have to sit up here and somehow sit up here and tell you these people what's going on. Because these idiots, you know, you know, some bullshit, you know. But I'm going to move on to something else so I don't get really annoyed. The stock market this week, it's been really moving up. It's been making newer highs this year, 52-week highs, not all-time highs, just